Welcome back to our next session. Today our topic is water resources. We are going to discuss about importance of water, hydrological cycle, types of water resources, overutilization of water and effects of overusage. Water is an indispensable natural resource. 97% of the earth's surface is covered by water. Plants and animals have around 60 to 65% of water in their body. And we all know the importance of water. We need water to grow food, to clean, to generate electricity, and also a major source to control fire. So, in order to stay alive, we need water, which is a natural resource on the earth. Water has unique properties. So, we call it as a unique resource because it is a liquid over a wide range of temperature. It has highest specific heat of around 4.18 kilojoules per gram, and it warms up and cools down slowly without causing temperature shocks to aquatic life. It has high latent heat of vaporization, so it produces a cooling effect when it evaporates. As we all know, it is an excellent solvent for several nutrients. And the most important property of water is anomalous expansion. As it freezes, it expands. We all know this hydrological cycle. So if you start a hydrological cycle, there are different steps in it. Let us start with precipitation. So precipitation is because of rainfall which occurs in different seasons. So in the first step, there is rainfall. So the rains flow down through the mountains. This some of the water it infiltrates, it percolates into deep into the soil, and some water flows on the surface of the soil as runoff. Some water is generally stored inside the soil in the form of groundwater. The runoff will be actually flowing in the forms of rivers and lakes and as oceans. So the water that is available on the surface in the form of ponds, rivers and lakes, they are continuously exposed to sunlight. At the same time, as I have informed you, the plants contain around 60 to 65% of water. These plants they undergo a process called transpiration, and water which is present as runoff in the seas and lakes is evaporated because of sunlight, and thus evaporated vapor enters into the atmosphere and it undergoes condensation. Now the first step is precipitation, where we can see percolation of water, surface runoff, and which also involves a particular process of plants that is transpiration. The second step is evaporation. The water is evaporating from the surface of the soil. And third step is condensation. The water gets condensed in the clouds. Again, the cycle repeats. So this is the third step. After third step, again it goes to first step. That is called precipitation step. So the water is a precious natural resource which is recycled through hydrological cycle naturally. Although water is very abundant on the earth, yet it is very precious because of the entire water, 97% is salty, 3% is only fresh water. 0.003% is readily available to us in the form of groundwater and surface water. So very less percentage is available in the form of groundwater. Overuse of groundwater for drinking, irrigation and domestic purpose has resulted in rapid depletion of groundwater. As we all know, pollution of many of the groundwater aquifers has made of these wells unfit for consumption. Nowadays, no one of us is drinking groundwater directly. Rivers and streams have been used for discharging the waste. This is a very bad process which we followed unknowingly, where we are discharging all our drainage into the rivers and streams. So let us have a reflection spot. Pause the video for a fraction of a second and answer the question. List out the uses of water. Okay, it's a very simple question. We use it for agriculture, industrial purpose, domestic usage, hydropower generation, and navigation, recreation, etc. Why water is becoming scarce when water is plenty on the earth? So one of the major reasons is overexploitation, unnecessary usage of water, global warming, and perpetuating water pollution have made a considerable part of available fresh water unfit for human consumption. At the same time, steps need to be taken to conserve water, which is very important at this stage. Water is renewable, but its overuse and pollution made it unfit for us. Sewage, industrial use, chemicals, etc. pollute water with nitrates, metals, and pesticides. All these are the man-made things. Global warming is man-made. Water pollution is man-made. At the same time, sewage is generated, excessive sewage is generated by man. Industrial usage of water and polluted water is released from the industries, chemical industries. So we are also releasing a lot of nitrates and pesticides into water through agriculture, and agriculture technology is also using fertilizers, manures which are not organic based but they are chemical based. So all this runoff of the agriculture is entering into the nearby water bodies which is polluting the water. So our water bodies are now unfit for human consumption. That is the reason why water is very scarce. Let us go for different types of freshwater resources. Surface water is a freshwater resource and underground water is a freshwater resource. Under surface water we have two things, standing water bodies and running water bodies. Standing water bodies are nothing but lakes, reservoirs and estuaries. Running water bodies are streams and rivers. Both come under surface water bodies. So as we all know, 9.86% of total freshwater resource is in the form of groundwater. Out of 97%, it is only 9.86% available for drinking and is about 35 to 50 times that of surface water supplies. The surface water, the water coming through precipitation, that is rainfall or melting of snow, which does not percolate down into the ground, is considered as surface water. A country's economy depends upon the surface water. Mostly surface water is used for irrigation, industrial use, public water supply, etc. So our next topic is aquifers. A layer of sediment or rock that is highly permeable and contains water is called an aquifer. A layer of sediment or rock that is highly permeable and contains water is called an aquifer. You can see between two layers of rocky region there is some water and this is considered as an aquifer. Aquifers are of two types, confined and unconfined. Confined is sandwiched between two permeable layers of rock or a sediment. If it is sandwiched between two permeable layers of rock, then it is called confined aquifer. Generally, it is recharged only in those areas where the aquifer intersects with the land surface. Unconfined aquifers are those overlaid by permeable earth materials, and these are recharged by water seeping down from above in the form of rainfall and snowmelt. The diagram clearly shows confined and unconfined aquifers. Confined aquifers are between two impermeable rocky layers where you can see the supply of water. For example, if you want to recharge the confined aquifer, somewhere there should be a small hole from the surface of the earth to here. Through this hole, the water can seep inside like this. At the same time, these two may become non-permeable water layers, rocky layers. This is unconfined aquifer, where this is a permeable surface like sand and gravel. This entire permeable surface allows water to come and stay here. So this is how water will come into this confined aquifer. So what are the problems when there is overutilization of surface and groundwater? Continuous overutilization of surface and groundwater has led to virtual water scarcity in the world today. Depleting sources for high growth in human population is a major cause for water scarcity. Increased man-induced water pollution is also a major cause for water scarcity. Depletion of groundwater due to its overexploitation by rising human population. Rapid rise in industrialization. Urbanization is also an important cause for overutilization of surface water and groundwater. What are the effects of groundwater usage? So if the groundwater is excessively used and we cause a deficiency in groundwater, there may be land subsidence. If the groundwater is withdrawn more and more than the recharge rate, the subsidence in the aquifer gets compacted and this phenomenon is called, the sediments in the aquifer gets compacted and this phenomenon is called ground subsidence. For example, this is an aquifer, so we have water in this, and this is a permeable or impermeable layer which is covering this aquifer. So down one impermeable layer and above one impermeable layer. When there is no water here, when this water has been completely exhausted or we are withdrawing it continuously, these lands may come down like this. So these layers may come down. So that happens, that is called subsidence. Lowering of water table. Excessive mining of water in semi-arid and arid regions lowers the water table, that is water level inside the earth crust. Water logging. When excessive irrigation is done with brackish water, it raises water table gradually, leading to water logging and salinity problems.